Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. Unfortunately, America is on fire, and it seems as though America is constantly under attack from people who may not be native to the land. We begin with a tragic event in New Orleans where a terror attack has left at least 15 people dead and numerous others injured. The assailant, identified as Saman Don Jabbar, drove a vehicle into a crowd on Bourbon Street during New Year's celebration. Jabbar, a former U.S. Army veteran who had recently converted to Islam, was found with an ISIS flag and explosive devices in his possession. Authorities are investigating potential connections to international terror groups, and President-elect Donald Trump commented on the attack, stating it underscores the need for stringent security measures. And we're going to get more into the story when it comes to Jabbar, his being an Army veteran, also the particular jobs that he'd had inside of the Army when it comes to human resources as well as IT, and some of his possible connections. Turning to immigration policy, we all know that President-elect Donald Trump has reiterated, he not only doubled down, but he tripled down his support for H-1B visas, which permits U.S. companies to employ highly skilled foreign workers. And this stance aligns him with tech industry leaders like Elon Musk, who advocate for the program's expansion to access specialized talent. However, this position has sparked debate within the MAGA movement, with some supporters expressing concerns over potential impacts on American workers. Yes, it will have an impact on American workers. And then two, with the highlighted attacks that America has been experiencing from people who may not be native to the land or who may be immigrants to this country, that's going to raise a lot of red flags as well. So again, people are still eyeing this as something that they are against, especially that MAGA concentrated movement. They're stating that we may need these skilled workers, but what are the stringent security measures of verifying who and their intentions are here in America? So that is also significant as well. In New York City, a shooting outside the Missouri nightclub in Queens have resulted in 10 injuries. The incident occurred late Wednesday night during a private event when multiple gunmen opened fire on a crowd waiting to enter the venue. The victims, aged between 16 and 20, sustained non-life-threatening injuries, thank God, and are expected to recover. Authorities are investigating the motive behind the attack, and no arrests have been made at this time. You know, there's always a lot that goes on during New Year's Eve. You always see a heightened police presence. People wait until these national gatherings of people enjoying Christmas or Thanksgiving or New Year's Eve, where people are out the most or traveling the most, to incite these terrorist attacks on the public. And it's very daunting. And if you notice, I'm noticing I'm not even going out anymore. If so, I'm going to a friend's party or a house or a venue where there's a close-knit group of people. I'm not going to some public place anymore, like a club or some sort of New Year's Eve bash. I'm not doing that anymore. It's very dangerous for people to enjoy their time and bring in the new year all together. Now, Russia President Vladimir Putin has rejected a peace proposal by President-elect Donald Trump's team aimed at resolving the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stated that the proposal did not meet Russia's security requirements and was therefore unacceptable. Despite this setback, both nations have expressed a willingness to continue diplomatic discussion to seek a solution, or rather a resolution. And this is not necessarily a bad thing. If they're still being diplomatic and having these discussions, that means there is a possible pathway to peace. And I hope that goes through, because the American interest in Ukraine and Russia, for one, is the amount of billions of dollars that we continue to give to Ukraine that absolutely needs to stop. And it doesn't seem it's going to stop until Trump gets into office or until this war is over. I don't know, whatever comes first, in the result of which that will be happening. Donald Trump has voiced his response following an explosion in a Tesla Cybertruck outside his hotel, believed to be a terrorist act. In a statement, the president-elect criticized the Democratic Party government and cautioned that the United States is on the brink of deterioration. He expressed concerns regarding the nation's current state. I wonder if anyone who's ever come over here on an H-1B visa ever committed a terrorist attack or ever committed a crime that was so egregious that it could be considered a terrorist attack? How would far-right Republicans, how would white nationalists, how would the core MAGA crowd respond to Donald Trump and Elon Musk tripling down on their H-1B1 visas ideology and how we need these quote unquote 1% of the world's most skilled, highly trained engineers? I wonder how they taken that when you stated that these attacks using a Cybertruck, I think using a Cybertruck was significant. It's almost like a calling card. Think about this. We know that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are now bros. They're two peas in a pod, so to speak, right? They formed a friendship to change America for the better. That's good. But the significance of using a Cybertruck resembling Elon Musk, and then outside of Trump's hotel that symbolized Donald Trump, was this a indirect attack at them or to somehow fracture their friendship? I don't know. I'm speculating here because I see the significance in this. But the Bourbon Street attack, I have no idea. And here's another point about that. We're going to cover a little bit more about Jabbar later, but I was just in New Orleans roughly about a month or so ago. And when you're down on Bourbon Street, they have these blockades. They have these things that come out the ground, or they have something that prevents you from driving down the street. Supposedly on New Year's Eve, those were down. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, former Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison attended the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's New Year's Eve party at Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida. The event gathered an array of high-profile guests, including Elon Musk, of course, Senator Ted Cruz, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, boxing promoter Don King. Don King is still around, ain't he? And several members of Trump's family. This star-studded affair marked one of the major social events bridging the close of 2024 and the onset of 2025. Have you guys ever been, I guess with the exception of Obama and Reagan, where presidents or politicians were more popular than entertainers, comedians altogether? We even hear more about Trump and Elon more than any star you can possibly name, unless you're just a hardcore follower of maybe the Beehive or something like that. But these have been the stars of 2024 heading into 2025. That's just my conjecture on the matter. Let's move on. Now, China's new trade restrictions on the U.S. companies, Eastern Europe's anger over Ukraine's gas transit halted. These are some of the news stories I'm going to bring to you guys because there's a lot going on, because this is when China strikes back. Because China has imposed strict export controls on 28 U.S. entities, including major defense and aerospace firms like Boeing Defense and Lockheed Martin. These measures restrict to dual-use items, citing national security concerns. And the escalation in trade tensions is expected to impact global supply chains and strain U.S.-China relations even further. And analysts suggesting that this move is a response to the U.S. restrictions on Chinese technology companies and ongoing geopolitical restrictions. Yeah, I mean, hopefully a lot of our politicians, a lot of our intelligence agency knew that this was going to occur. You can't just impose a slew of sanctions or even imply or threaten sanctions on China and expect China to do nothing. China, according to their GDP, is the second most powerful country in the world, and we helped them to get there. So again, hopefully this was expected. Authorities are exploring potential connections between the New Orleans truck attack and a recent explosion involving a Tesla Cybertruck outside of Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. Both incidents occurred within hours of each other and involve rented vehicles with similar profiles. Investigators are coordinating with federal agencies to determine whether these events are part of a coordinating terror campaign. Now, again, there are some traces and residue, breadcrumbs, so to speak. They're stating that this could be a possible link, that this could be a possible coordinated attack. And if we notice, whether you are following the news or you're watching movies, it seems as though when this new age of terrorism, they're always doing these coordinated attacks where there's not just one, two, or three. Again, we don't know there possible further terrorist attacks that may occur, whether it be today or tomorrow, and hopefully that's not the case. I'm not trying to fearmonger anyone, but again, we need to be hyper vigilant, because these people who come to America, either homegrown, native-born Americans, domestic terrorists, or international terrorists, doesn't want America to succeed for whatever reason. And you have to be hyper vigilant. You have to be hyper vigilant when it comes, when you're out and about, whether you're going to the grocery store, the gym, a party, a club, all together. Things are becoming more and more dangerous. Even though on a normal day, America's, a safe country, so to speak, but with all these highlighted attacks, it seems as though that America is erupting into this great ball of fire. And hopefully we can get things in order before it encourages other people to conduct such heinous acts as well. Last, the suspect in New Orleans truck attack, Jabbar, who killed 15 people during the New Year celebration on Bourbon Street. He has been identified as a former U.S. Army veteran. Here's his picture here. Authorities discovered ISIS propaganda and explosive devices in his possession, intensifying concerns about domestic radicalization among veterans. An investigation ongoing to uncover any links. No, I'm not taking this. First and foremost, let me point out a couple of things. When you see his picture here, and I'm gonna try to look for an older picture of him, I want to let everyone know this is not a Black American. A lot of times people get confused on people's race and or ethnicity because of the color of their skin, and maybe even some of the physical attributes of a person's face. Now, it's important that we understand this, because we don't want certain groups to indiscriminately attack people because of the color of their skin. That people need to understand that, first and foremost, Black Americans love America because this is our country. We've been here from the inception. We've been here before the inception of America, before 1865, before 1619. The date that holds dear to all of us is 1526. And I won't get into the history of that, but that is the date. So we've been here for a very, very long time. So we want to see America prosperous. We want to see America succeed. We want to see America a lot safer. Here in this picture, he looks very young. So some people can confuse him as a Black guy with good hair. Some people will use that, some of that rhetoric, but I really want to look for an older picture of this man, okay? Because don't forget, you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? Who essentially changed his name, I believe. But nonetheless, these two cannot be conflated. I want to show these pictures. So there's a huge difference. Now, as an older gentleman, you can tell that he's not a Black American. And I just wanted to point that out. That's all I have for you guys today. Again, I told you that America seems that is on a brink where it's imploding from inside. And I want to know if anyone is ever going to make the connections of illegal immigrants, legal immigration, and the rise of terror attacks that just happened starting on December 30th through the 1st of 2025. Nonetheless, I wish you all the best. You guys have a great and wonderful day. This is Blacklogic.